Good morning, all of you. In this session, we are going to discuss with the CSIR NET December 2019 Chemical Sciences Part B. Entire Part B session we are going to cover in this session. So, Chemical Sciences, we are going to discuss about December 2019 paper, and Part B, entire organic, inorganic as well as physical chemistry questions will be covered with a proper explanation. Myself, Dr. Kavita Kothireddy, World of Competitive Chemistry is our channel. So in this first question will be, choose the correct statement for oxymyoglobin and cytochrome P450 in resting state from the following. Two biomolecules are given. One is oxymyoglobin, second is cytochrome P450. Oxymyoglobin is used for the storage of iron, and second cytochrome P450 is used to manufacture olefins, right? So now let us see what are the true statements regarding these two molecules, oxymyoglobin and cytochrome P450. Both contains dianion of protoporphyrin 9. Okay, so here when you see the structure, central iron is surrounded by porphyrin rings in this molecule. This is oxymyoglobin. So it is bounded with oxygen also, right? So it is the structure of oxymyoglobin where we have porphyrin rings in this. And even cytochrome P450 when taken, central iron +3 is surrounded by porphyrin rings again. So in both the cases, porphyrin rings are surrounding the central metal, right? So this is also the right answer. They have same fifth ligand bounded to the metal center from the protein backbone. In case of this oxymyoglobin, sixth ligand is bounded. That's why the answer will not be correct for this one. Okay, so in both the cases, fifth ligand is not correct, because in case of oxymyoglobin, so this entire structure, oxymyoglobin, is linked with fifth ligand, sixth ligand. Okay, they contain single active site. So in both the cases, single active site will be there, that is iron +3, right? They contains metal ion in +3 oxidation state. Metal ion exists in the form of +3 oxidation state is also right answer. That's the reason why for question number 1, the correct answer will be A, C and D. B answer will not be correct, because here in oxymyoglobin we have sixth ligand instead of fifth ligand. So answer will be 2. The next question will be, hydrogen atomic orbital given by nr square e to the power minus r by 3a naught 3 cos square theta minus 1 represents. Okay, so this is about the hydrogen atomic orbital. So in case of this hydrogen atomic orbital equation, we have to predict which orbital it is, either 2b, 3p, 3d, 4d. Among all, we have to predict the right orbital from this. So when we observe this equation, in this we have two parts. First part is considered as this nr square e to the power minus r by 3 a naught is considered as a radial part, and the second part 3 cos square theta minus 1 is considered as a angular part. Okay, so radial part will give the information about principal quantum number. Angular part will give the information about this L value. That means azimuthal quantum number value will be calculated. Now let us see how it is possible, right? So nr square e to the power minus r by 3 a naught 3 cos square theta minus 1. Here we have two parts, radial and angular parts will be there. So when we consider this angular part, whatever square value is there, that becomes L value. So here square value will be denoted as 2. Cos square is there. That's the reason why it again becomes L is equal to 2. And even in the radial part, whatever square is given for radius, that is also called as this L value. Okay. So in this way, simply we can predict the L value. Okay, and m becomes 0. Magnetic quantum number becomes 0, because if any sign term is there, then only we have to assign m value. But in case of this equation, sign term is not there. That's the reason why M value becomes a 0. Okay. So there is an empirical formula in order to calculate number of nodes. N minus L minus 1 is equal to 0, right? N is the principal quantum number. L is the azimuthal quantum number. Minus 1 is equal to 0. That is nothing but, so N minus L. L value is given as 2. N minus 2 minus 1 is equal to 0. When we take this minus 2 and minus 1 towards right hand side, N value becomes a 3. Principal quantum number 3 is nothing but it is the third shell, right? And whenever L is equal to 2 is there, L is equal to 0 s orbital, L is equal to 1 p orbital, L is equal to 2 d orbital it is. Now when we combine this N and L, it becomes 3d orbital. So the correct option will be 3d orbital. Option number 3 is satisfying this statement. Okay, here the equation is given. In this equation, whatever power is present in this angular part is nothing but L value. Sign value is not there. That's why here M becomes 0. And whatever value given, so when we are taking this radial part, in this denominator integer becomes its principal quantum number in value. So by simply seeing only we can observe 3 is the principal quantum number and the square is there. This is nothing but L value. So 2 indicates d orbital. So it will be 3d orbital, right? Next, move on to next question, that is the major product formed in the following reaction. When we are taking dibromocyclohexane, both the bromo groups are in anti-orientation, right? One is towards the VR, second is away from the VR. Both are in anti-orientation and it is treated with a strong base, potassium tertiary butoxide, right? 1,2 dibromocyclohexane. Upon treating with potassium tertiary butoxide, what kind of product will be formed? Potassium tertiary butoxide is a strong base and used to involve in elimination type of reaction. Whenever it used to give the elimination, here these two adjacent positions are used to remove hydrobromic acid, and here also hydrobromic acid will be eliminated, and subsequently we will get conjugated double bond system. In option number 1, conjugated double bond is not there, only one bromo is removed. Being it is a strong base used to remove both the bromo groups, so option number will not satisfy the statement. The second one, we have HBr elimination, 2 moles will be eliminated and conjugated system generated. Hence, option number 2 is the right answer. In option number 3 and 4, they made substitution instead of elimination reaction. Being it is a strong base, always prefer elimination reaction over substitution. If it is strong nucleophile, it involved in nucleophilic substitution. If it is strong base, what happens? It involved in elimination kind of reaction. Hence, the correct answer will be option number 2, where 2 moles of HBr will be eliminated. Cyclohexadiene will be generated. Cyclohexadiene will be generated, right? So this is about question number 3. Now let us move on to question number 4. The major product formed in the following reaction. When we are taking this reaction, it is consists of bicyclic system with methoxy, CH2 C double bond O, C double bond N2 will be there. And it is treated with CF3COOH. It is the strong organic acid. In the presence of strong organic acid, what happens? Initially, it involved in deamination and there is a formation of carbene intermediate. This carbene intermediate involved in subsequent cyclization reaction. How it will be? Methoxy group, oxygen consisting 2 lone pairs and they involved in delocalization, and here double bond will be generated and the migration of these benzenoid double bonds are possible and subsequent cyclization is carried and we will get the compound of quininoid type. Benzenoid now converted into quininoid type of compound with the 5-membered ring formation. So option number 3 is satisfying this product. So how it will be? In the presence of trifluoroacetic acid, it used to generate carbene. That carbene involved in ring cyclization reaction. because oxygen is electron releasing and involved in delocalization. So it used to form a pi bond, and subsequent pi bond shifting is possible. And here the double bond, here the cyclization is carried, because 5-membered ring will be less sterically strained one. That's why option number 3 will be the right answer for this question. Now let us move on to question number 5. In question number 5, the correct match of C13 NMR chemical shift values for pyridine molecule. Pyridine molecule is given. We have to predict its C13 chemical shift values. Okay, it is the part of NMR spectroscopy, and in which region its chemical shift value resides, that we have to predict. In order to predict its chemical shift, first we have to go with its resonance structures, and we have to analyze where electropositivity is there, where electronegativity is there, right? So when pyridine was taken, nitrogen being it is the -I affecting group, pi bonded electrons are pulled towards nitrogen, so that carbon acquiring positive, and subsequent migration, fourth carbon will retain positive charge, and subsequently sixth will be retaining positive charge in delocalization of pi electrons. It is very clear that position 2, that means carbocation at second position, carbocation at fourth position, and even carbocation at the sixth position having electropositivity. So electropositivity is more for second, fourth, and sixth position. Subsequently, its C13 chemical shift values also more for these positions, and moreover, positive charge directly attached to the second carbon will be more when compared to fourth position. Second and sixth position carbocation having more electropositivity, because they are directly linked with -I affecting nitrogen. That's the reason why C2 carbon will have highest C13 NMR chemical shift. So in all the given options, option number 3 and 4 having 150 value for C2 carbon. And after this C2, fourth carbon will have positive. That means next highest chemical shift value is given for this fourth carbon atom. After C2, C3 will be 124, C4 will be 136. This is the correct statement. Here 136, C3, 124, C4 will be given. This is not the correct statement, because electropositivity more, chemical shift value is also more. Second carbon comparatively more electropositivity. That's why here we can experience higher chemical shift value. So C2 will have 150. After C2, again positive charge is resided at carbon 4 rather than carbon 3. That's why carbon 4 acquiring higher C13 value compared to C3. That's why C4 value should be higher than C3. Option number 3 is satisfying this statement, right? So option number 3 is the correct answer for question number 5. Now let us move on to next question. The value of physical variables were found to be 196, 198, 194, 199, 198. The set of 5 independent measurements, the average value and standard deviation will be closest to. Okay, when we take the average of all these 5 units, its average will be 197. 197 will be the average, and the standard deviation, when we observe all these values, the difference, mostly difference is 2 only. So standard deviation is found to be 2. So 197 is the average of all these 5 variables, and standard deviation will be 2. Option number 3 is satisfying correct answer for question number 6. 197 and 2 is the right answer. Now let us move on to question number 7. The ion having highest bond order. In order to predict the bond order, we have to apply molecular orbital theory. Molecular orbital theory of diatomic molecules and even ionic molecules. Ionic diatomic molecules are most valuable in order to predict bond order, magnetic nature of the compound, and also bond dissociation energy. MOT major applications will be prediction of bond order, prediction of magnetic nature of the substance, and even bond dissociation energy. Based on bond order, bond dissociation energy depends. So in order to calculate bond order, half into number of electrons in bonding orbitals minus number of electrons in anti-bonding orbitals. This will be the formula. After framing their MOT structures, it is possible to calculate bond order. So by seeing only, we can directly predict whose bond order will be highest, because NO positive is nothing but N2 molecule only. It is isoelectronic species, just like nitrogen molecule. Everybody know, it's most familiar that nitrogen molecule bond order will be 3. It will be the highest bond order. That's why NO positive is having highest bond order when compared to remaining all. Let us calculate. So according to the traditional calculation form also, NO positive bond order will be 3 and the correct option will be option number 1 only. Now let us see how it is possible. So if number of valency electrons are 14, what happens? Bond order is simply predicted as 3. If valency electrons are 13, it will be 2.5. 12, it will be 2. 11, it will be 1.5. 10 valency electrons, it will be given as 1 bond order. So this is a simple relation between number of valency electrons with number of bonds present between two atoms. Okay, let us predict the valency electrons among all these. NO positive having 14 electron system, O2 positive 15 electron system, N2 positive 13 electrons, carbon 2 positive will be 11 electron system. So when we predict the bond order for this NO positive, half into 10 minus 4 is equal to 6/2, nothing but 3. So NO positive have bond order 3, oxygen positive antibonding electrons are 5, hence it becomes bond order 2.5. In case of N2 positive, bonding electrons are 9 and minus 4, it will become 5/2, 2.5 will be the bond order. C2 positive bond order will be 7 minus 4/2, it will become 3/2. When 3/2 is there, it will become 1.5. That's why bond order will be 1.5. When we compare all the bond orders, NO positive have bond order 3, means nitrogen oxygen is acquiring triple bond nature. Triple bond nature is there, hence the correct option will be option number 1. And next is about question number 8. The major product formed in the following reaction is. Here we have to predict the major product formed in this reaction. So it is the 5-membered ring thiophene having methyl substitution at 3rd position, treated with N-bromosuccinamide. NBS is the brominating agent, halogenating agent, and specific for allylic bromination, right? And treated in the presence of benzoyl peroxide. This is the initiator. We are applying benzoyl peroxide and the solvent used will be benzene and heated to high temperature. Upon treating with this benzoyl peroxide initiator and N-bromosuccinamide, reaction proceeded with free radical mechanism and specifically allylic bromination is possible. Okay, so when we observe this double bond and here methyl, so double bond followed by methyl, this carbon becomes so the carbon directly linked to the double bond is known as allylic carbon atom. So bromine will be specifically attached to the carbon at this position. That's why option number 1 is satisfying this statement. Let us see the mechanism. So when we take this reaction, N-bromosuccinamide will be like this. Succinic acid is a dicarboxylic acid of 4 carbons and it is connected with nitrogen, hence we can say amide. N-bromo. Upon nitrogen we have bromo functional group. On thermal dissociation, it is thermal homolytic dissociation, it able to generate 2 free radicals. This free radical is able to abstract one of the H hydrogen from this allylic carbon atom so that allylic carbon free radical is generated. So it is evidenced that allylic carbon free radical will be more stable because it will be participated in the resonance structure. So it is resonance stabilized structure because it is in direct conjugation with double bond. That's the reason why it will be the most stable carbon free radical. And subsequent to bromine addition to this carbon free radical, and we will get allylic brominated product. So the correct answer will be option number 1 for this question number 8. And the next question will be the expected number of VCO bands in IR spectrum of FAC MO PPH3 taken thrice, CO taken thrice, and trans MO PPH3 taken twice, CO taken 4R respectively. We are taking IR bands and two different compounds were given. One is FAC isomer, second is trans isomer. So FAC isomer having the arrangement of functional groups in this manner, where 3 CO carbonyl groups are arranged among 3, 2 carbonyl groups are equatorial, one of the carbonyl group will be axial, and 3 PPH3 also having same kind of arrangement. Whenever trans isomer was taken, so this is called a mer isomer, where trans isomer were taken, all carbonyl groups are in equatorial position, and these two carbonyls are oriented trans with respect to each other. So here trans arrangement will be there. So when we are taking this FAC isomer, where C3V symmetry will be there. Here the symmetry elements is C3 axis of symmetry and vertical plane will be there, hence it is called C3V symmetry. And here we have D4H symmetry. C3V is considered as lower symmetry element, whereas D4H is of higher symmetry element. Okay, so here equatorial CO groups are there and axial CO groups are there. In case of the second structure, all CO groups, that means carbonyl groups, are in equatorial position only. So that's why this able to give one band. So only one band is possible because all are having equal environment. Here equatorial carbonyl having one environment and axial CO have any other environment. That's why here two bands will be appeared. Okay, so FAC isomer is able to give two bands, whereas trans isomer is able to give one isomer. Option number 3 is satisfying this statement. So it's simply predicted if we know the structure of the compound. Both molybdenum complexes are octahedral only. So in FAC isomer, 2 are axial carbonyl, 1 is equatorial, 2 are equatorial carbonyl, 1 is axial carbonyl. Whereas in the second compound, all the carbonyl are equatorial and having equal environment. That's why we can say compound 1 will give 2 isomers, compound 2 will give only one band in case of IR absorption, right? So for question number 9, option number 3 is the right answer. Now let us move on to question number 10. Here, Miller indices of plane as shown in the figure parallel to the C-axis is. So they only mentioned, so here towards this up, you can say it is the axis B, and this horizontal vertical axis is inclination in B. So horizontal axis is in the inclination of A, and this is in parallel condition to axis C. If parallel condition to axis C, that value become infinity. Let us see how it can be predicted. So when we see the structure, on the axis 4 points are there. So on A axis, when we are seeing this A axis, here 1, 2, 3, 4 points are there. On B axis, how many points are there? 1, 2 points are there. A axis have 4 points, B axis have 2 points. C axis is parallel. So C axis parallel to C axis, that's why its value becomes infinity, right? So let us take reciprocal of all these values. Okay, inverting all these values, how it becomes? 1 by 4, 1 by 2, 1 by infinity, right? So 1 by 4, 1 by 2, 1 by infinity. When we are taking 1 by infinity, the value becomes exactly 0, right? Now, all these three terms multiplied with biggest integer. among all three, biggest integer will be 4. Now it becomes 4 divided by 4, and here it becomes 4 divided by 2. Here it becomes 0 divided by 4, right? So 4 by 4 nothing but 1 only, 4 by 2 nothing but 2 only, and 0 by 4 nothing but 0 only. Now here the values are 1, 2 and 0. Okay, so Miller indices are found to be 1, 2, 0. Correct option will be option number 2 for this solid state chemistry. Now let us move on to question number 11. In IR spectrum of recorded, a compound shows a strong broad band at 3300 centimeter inverse. The band becomes sharp and shift to 3600 centimeter inverse when the spectrum is recorded in carbon tetrachloride at a high dilution. This proves that the compound has, okay, so here two kind of IR frequency values are given. One is 3300 and it will be stronger peak and a broader peak, which is observed in under normal conditions, and the same compound dissolved in non-polar solvent, that is CCl4. Okay, CCl4 was also taken. In that the peak is shifted to 3600 and it will be sharp in nature, right? So what kind of functional group is there and why this shift is observed, we have to check it. Okay, so everybody know that 33 to 36 is the range which is given for hydroxy functional group. So it is obvious that hydroxy functional group is present in the given compound. OH group will be there, OH is there, terminal alkyne not possible, alkyne will give 2200 around, so it is not possible OH group. So option number 1, 2 and 4 satisfying this range of peaks. Now we have to know, we have to understand why this strong broadband is shifted to sharp band 3600. 3300 now shifted to 3600. Why it is possible, let us see. Okay, here broad band is indicated like this and sharp band, sharp tip point is observed for this one. If OH involved in hydrogen bonding, if it is in hydrogen bonding, so under polar conditions, peak will be appeared as a broad band. Whenever OH group is in free state without any hydrogen, either intramolecular or intermolecular hydrogen bonding is not present, now you can say it is a free hydroxy and it is observed in non-polar solvent. Here CCl4 is the better example for non-polar solvent, and we can see intermolecular absorption at 3300 and non-hydrogen bonded at 3600. So the possibility will be intermolecular, because if it is intramolecular, the value should be less than 3300. It should be less than 33 or around 3000 value should be given. But basically they mentioned as 33. 3300 indicates it will be intermolecular, in between two different molecules involved in hydrogen bonding. OH functional group is there which involved in intra is not correct answer. Inter is a correct answer. Option number 2 is satisfying the statement. Let us repeat one more time. In IR spectrum, 3300 to 3600, this is a characteristic region for hydroxy functional group. Okay, so hydroxy functional group appears in three different conditions. One is free hydroxy, second is intermolecular hydrogen bonding, third is intramolecular hydrogen bonding. Free hydroxy group will be appeared at 3600 and peak will be sharp. If intermolecular hydrogen bonding is there, value will be near 3300. Intramolecular is there, that should be less than 3300. In both intra and inter, so what happens, peak will be broadened and a strong peak will be observed. Hence, the correct option will be option number 2. OH group is there, intermolecular hydrogen bonding will be observed for this compound. Now let us move on to question number 12, where correct order of molar extinction coefficient values of visible absorption bands for the following species. We have to predict molar extinction coefficient values for all these compounds. In order to predict molar extinction coefficient, first we have to observe their selection rules. Spin selection rule states that so there should not be change in the spin. Spin retention is required. Delta S is given as 0. So spin inversion is not preferable here. And Laporte selection rule, delta L is equal to plus or minus 1. Okay. So delta L, only one step excitation is possible. Delta L is equal to plus or minus 1. Okay. So these two are the selection rules with respect to this molar extinction coefficient. And one more thing is always molar extinction coefficient is directly proportional to molar absorbability. Greater the extent of absorption, greater will be the molar extinction coefficient. So this absorbability mainly depends upon these factors. If pi to pi star transition is there, absorbability will be extremely large, where it is obeying two selection rules. Delta S is equal to 0 and delta L is equal to plus or minus 1. Pi to pi star transition will satisfy the statement, hence absorption will be more. Non-centrosymmetry is there. If center of symmetry element is not present, now selection rule delta S is equal to 0, delta L is not equal to plus or minus 1, and it will be tetrahedral in nature. Non-center of symmetry is observed in tetrahedral complex, where one selection rule is obeyed and the Laporte selection rule is violated. This will be the second molar extinction intensity value. And if center of symmetry is there, if molecule is associated with center of symmetry, what happens? Both the rules will be violated and delta S becomes not is equal to 0. Delta L also not is equal to plus or minus 1, and molecule resided in octahedral structure. Center of symmetry is given for octahedral structure, and least is given for D5 system. We already know that manganese D5 system will be Laporte forbidden, spin forbidden. Delta S is not is equal to 0. Delta L also not is equal to plus or minus 1. So this is about the order. First, pi to pi star will have higher molar extinction coefficient. Next is about tetrahedral complex. Next is about octahedral, and next is about D5 system. Same order will be given for chlorophyll. So when you observe chlorophyll, it consists of pi to pi star transition. That's why molar extinction coefficient value will be higher. So let us take the second complex. So chlorophyll, here second complex octahedral is not possible. Non-center of symmetry should be there. That's why nickel complex should be taken. Nickel complex non-center of symmetry. Spin will be allowed, but Laporte forbidden it is. When we are taking chromium hexaacpo, octahedral, center of symmetry is there. Both the selection rules are violated. Hence, we can say it is the third. And the least will be for D5. Both the spin and Laporte forbidden system will be there for this manganese complex. Right? So the correct option will be option number 2. Chlorophyll, being it is the spin and Laporte allowed system whose molar extinction coefficient value will be extremely large, followed by tetrahedral complex, followed by octahedral, followed by D5 system. Option number 2 is satisfying this question number 12. Right? Now let us move on to question number 13. The cell potential in volts, silver chloride, potassium chloride electrode connected to the standard hydrogen electrode at 298 Kelvin, closer to given E0 AgCl AgCl is equal to Ag plus AgCl is given as 0.222 volts, and assume that activity of potassium chloride is 0.01. It is purely electrochemistry Nernst equation based question. When we apply the Nernst equation, it is very simple to calculate this problem, right? So here two electrodes were given. One is silver chloride, second is hydrogen electrode. Obviously silver electrode will be cathodic and hydrogen will be anodic in nature. Everybody know hydrogen electrode potential will be 0 and silver electrode potential given in the problem, that is 0.222 volts. Okay, so when we combine these two, hydrogen will be anode and silver will be cathode. When we take EMF of the cell, E cathode minus E anode, it will become E cathode minus E anode. Then it is possible to predict this E naught of the cell, right? So E cathode minus anode, cathodic potential will be 0.222 minus anode hydrogen, whose potential is 0 volts. Now it becomes 0.222 volts. So E naught value is given by 0.222 volts, right? So now let us predict the chemical equations possible at cathode and anodic region. At a cathodic region, silver chloride is acquiring electron from anodic compartment and Ag plus now transformed into silver metal, and chlorine is converted into chloride, Cl minus. This is the possible cathodic reaction. Electron retained by silver and is converted into metallic. So in anodic compartment, hydrogen is able to release electron and is converted into half H2. Hydrogen releasing electron and is converted to half H2. In order to represent in the reduction potential, H plus by taking electron, it is converted into half H2. So this is the reciprocal of oxidation, because always it should be represented in the reduction terms. Hence we are inverting the equation. So whatever its electrode potential is taken as 0 volts only. Minus 0 plus 0 will not be possible, right? So these are the anode cathodic compartments. Now let us apply the Nernst equation. Nernst equation is E cell is equal to E naught minus 0.0591 ln 0.0591 by N log chloride ion concentration by H plus ion concentration, right? So chloride ion concentration by H plus ion concentration. Here, how many electrons transferred in the reaction? N stands for valency, nothing but number of electrons transferred in the reaction. H plus releasing 1 electron, whereas silver also accepting 1 electron. That's why N value becomes 1. Now, log of Cl minus. Here, within the problem, they mentioned activity of potassium chloride is 0.01. So here, chloride ion concentration is taken as 0.01. And H plus concentration will be given as 1 molar solution. Denominator will be 1 only. Now let us substitute all the values. Already we got this E naught. E naught is equal to E cathode minus E anode. E cathode is the silver electrode whose value will be 0.222 volts, right? So this 0.222 volts minus E anode hydrogen electrode potential is 0. Hence it will become 0.222 volts. Now let us substitute this E naught value here. E cell is equal to 0.222 minus 0.0591 by N. N value will be 1 only, because 1 electron will be transferred in the reaction. Log of Cl minus and H plus. So it will become 0.0591 ln log of 0.01, because activity of chloride ion is given as 0.01, right? So 0.01 can be represented as 10 to the power minus 2, right? So remaining term remains same. E cell is equal to 0.222 volts minus 0.0591 log by N. It will be by N. N value will be 1 only. Log of 10 to the power minus 2, right? 0.222b minus 0.0591 into here power 2 becomes here. The value is coming here, then it becomes minus 2 log 10. Okay, so what we are doing, N value is 1 only, that's why I need not to write that. 0.222 volts minus 0.0591 into this power is coming here, minus 2 log 10 it will be. So log 10 value 1 only. So that's why we will substitute log 10 as 1. It will become 0.222 volts minus 0.0591 into minus 2, right? So when we do all these calculations, electrode potential of the cell is given as 0.3402 volts. 0.3402 volts. Correct answer will be option number 3. This is purely Nernst equation based question. E naught minus 0.0591 by N log of product to concentration by reactant to concentration is the formula. When we substitute all known values, it is possible to calculate answer for this question. So correct answer will be option number 3 for question number 13. Now let us move on to question number 14. Consider the entropy changes in the system undergoing transformation as depicted in the diagram below. Okay, so when we are moving from 25 degrees to 50 degrees, delta S1 will be given. Entropy is nothing but it is the entity of state function where measure of randomness is regarded as entropy. When we are moving from 25 to 50, delta S1 is the measure of randomness, and 50 degrees when transformed into 75, it is considered as a delta S2. Right here, two step delta S values are given, and another in alternative method 25 degrees centigrade now transformed into 75 degrees centigrade, it is taken as the total entropy. Delta S is equal to total entropy. So it's very simple. Total entropy is equal to delta S1 plus delta S2. In order to get this total entropy, delta S is equal to delta S1 plus delta S2 will be there, right? So that is one of the statement from this given problem. And the second will be what happens, relation between entropy and temperature we have to predict. When we are seeing delta S is equal to Q reversible by T. Okay, Q reversible by T. Q, if we are taking Q as the constant, now delta S proportional to 1 by T. That is nothing but the relation between temperature and entropy will be inverse proportionality, right? So as entropy rises, temperature decreases. As temperature increases, entropy lowered, right? So that means 25 to 50 delta S1, 50 to 75 delta S2. Hence what happens, as temperature rises, entropy value decreases. That is nothing but delta S2 will be smaller than delta S1, because lower temperature, higher delta S. That's why delta S1 will be larger than delta S2 value. And sum of delta S1 and delta S2 is able to give total entropy change. Now let us see the options which is satisfying this statement. Delta S1 is equal to delta S2. It is not possible. Delta S1 is greater than delta S2. It is possible. Delta S is not is equal to delta S1 and delta S2. It is not correct. Delta S1 is equal to delta S2. It is also wrong statement. Delta S1 is greater than delta S2 because there is an inverse proportionality relation between temperature and entropy. The correct option will be option number 4. Delta S1 will be greater than delta S2. And the second is delta S is equal to delta S1 plus delta S2. So option number 4 is satisfying this problem. Option number 4 is the right answer. Now let us move on to question number 15, where consider the species A, B, C, D. Here A plus B under reaction with potassium iodide acidic conditions leads to give C. Oxidation of A with C in acidic medium gives D. A, B, C, D are respectively. Okay, so what they given? A plus B in the presence of potassium iodide and H plus gives rise to C. So what it is doing when oxidation of A was taken and the oxidation is carried with the C, so that we will get another product that will be D. Then we have to predict what is A, what is B, what is C, what is D in this. Okay, so in order to predict this, simply it is a part of iodometric titration. In iodometric titration, what we will do? Hypo will be treated with potassium iodide under acidic conditions and treating with potassium iodide, there will be the formation of iodine. And liberated iodine will be treated with hypo, sodium, Na2S2O3. So when it is treated with sodium thiocyanate is called hypo, Na2S2O3. So when it is treated, what happens? The product will be sodium tetrathionate will be possible. This is the empirical formula, empirical equation for iodometric titration. So let us write this all equation in the sequential way. What it will be? Potassium iO3 plus potassium iodide plus H plus gives rise to iodine, KCl, and water formation is possible. In this, KiO3 is treated with Ki plus H plus iodine plus KCl plus water will be generated. Hence, it's very clear that compound B will be KiO3. Compound B will be KiO3 and compound C will be I2. Iodine formation is possible. Now, this iodine is treated with Na2S2O3, that is hypo, right? Sodium thiosulfate. When it is treated with Na2S2O3, the product will be NaI plus Na2S4O6. NaI plus, here in order to balance the equation, 2 NaI is required. And here, right, Na4S2, Na2S4O6 will be formed. This is called a sodium tetrathionate. Sodium tetrathionate will be formed. Here balanced equation will be given as 2 moles of hypo is required and 2 moles of NaI, Na2S4O6 will be formed here, right? The compound D will be Na2S4O6. Na2S4O6 nothing but S4O6 minus 2 it will be. So compound 1 will be, A will be hypo, that is Na2S2O3, which simply written as S2O3 minus 2. Compound B will be KiO3, potassium iodate. And C product will be iodine. Molecular iodine will be formed in this reaction. And upon treating I2 with this hypo, the product will be S4O6 minus 2. Sodium tetrathionate will be formed. Option number 3 is the right answer for this question number 15. Option number 3 is the right statement. Now, the next question will be common heptacity observed for coordination of C60 to the metal center, right? So C60 is called Buckminster fullerene, which is also known as fullerene. Okay, so when we are taking the C60 molecules, 12 pentagons and 20 hexagons and 12 pentagons will be there in this C60 molecule. Whenever the C60 molecule is in contact with metal, heptacities will be neta 3, neta 2, neta 3, neta 4, neta 5, neta 6. Heptacity stands for number of electrons released by the ligand. The C60 working like a ligand, being it is the nanoparticle and having a bunch of structure, 60 carbons arranged in a soccer ball model. So in that soccer ball model, what happens? All we have 12 pentagons and 20 hexagonal structures will be there, and it able to release 2 electrons, 3 electrons, 4 electrons, 5 electrons, and even 6 electron release are possible. But the question will be common heptacity. So most commonly observed heptacity will be neta 2 and neta 5, 2 electron donor and even 5 electron donor. So when we are taking 2 electron donation, its conjugation and its arrangement of 5 electrons will not be varied. Whenever it is in neta 5 system, we have to change its that electron system. That's why 2 electron donation is most convenient. So most common heptacity will be option number 1 only. Neta 2 will be the right answer. Here, just like how olefinic double bond releasing electrons to metal, here also this pentagon structure having double bond, it used to donate electrons to metal by coordinate covalent bond formation. Hence, convenient heptacity will be neta 2. So it will be 2 electron donor. So 2 electron heptacity is the most commonly observed in C60, even though the possibilities are so many. Possibilities are so many, but commonly observed one is only neta 2, because 2 electron donation will not alter its pi conjugated system. Okay, so this is about question number 16. Option number 1 will be the right answer. Now, let us move on to question number 17. Question number 17 states that for octahedral copper plus 2 complex depicting axial EPR spectrum, G parallel is greater than G perpendicular, the geometry of copper plus 2 and orbital containing unpaired electrons are respectively. Okay, so here octahedral copper plus 2 complex we are taking, and EPR spectrum observed that G parallel is greater than G perpendicular, and we have to predict copper plus 2 geometry and orbital containing unpaired electrons. In order to write this, we have to go with its crystal field splitting. Okay, so octahedral crystal field splitting will be, how octahedral crystal field splitting will be there? T2G orbitals are laying at the bottom, EG orbital energy will be raised. EG orbitals of doubly degenerated orbitals of higher energy, triply degenerated orbitals of lower energy in nature, right? And what they are saying, octahedral copper plus 2 system, it is the D9 system in octahedral state. So D9 octahedral system having Jahn-Teller distortion. So because of Jahn-Teller distortion in octahedral complex, what happens? We can observe tetragonally elongated form. D9 system octahedral always have tetrahedral elongation. Means whenever we see this octahedral, tetrahedral elongation in the sense axial bonds will be pulled outside. Tetragonal compression in the sense axial bonds will be compressed inside, right? So here the observed kind of thing will be D9 tetrahedral elongation. Tetragonal elongation will be there, means slightly these two bonds will be what? Elongated, means bond length of axial ligands will be lengthened. Okay, so this is called a tetragonal elongation. This is mainly because of Jahn-Teller distortion, right? So and G parallel is greater than G perpendicular in the sense Z-axis having more electron density, right? So Z-axis having more electron density when compared to XY axis. That's why Z-axis will be repelled more, right? And this is about the orbital arrangement in case of this. In case of this copper plus 2 D9 system, where DYZ, DXZ orbitals residing at so this lower energy level will be T2G and this higher energy level will be EG. Actually, two sets will be appeared. One is T2G, second is EG. Because of Jahn-Teller distortion, again these are further splitted. How? Z orbital containing D lobes will be lower energetic compared to XY orbitals. That's the reason why DYZ, DZX orbitals residing at lower position compared to DXY. DXY orbital having higher position in T2G. When we go for doubly degenerated EG orbitals, DZ square having lower energy and DX square minus Y square have higher energy. Then what we have to do? We have to fill 9 electrons. It is the D9 system. We have to delocalize 9 electrons in this. How can we? So according to Auber principle, in accordance with increasing energy level, we have to fill the electrons. First 2 electron resides in DYZ, next 2 electron DXZ, next 2 electron DXY, DZ square, and the final 1 electron D9 system. Hence 1 electron residing in DX square minus Y square, right? The question will be, consider octahedral copper plus 2 complex. Parallel is greater than perpendicular, copper plus 2 geometry. Geometry will be tetragonally elongated octahedral structure will be there, and lone pair of electron is resided in dx square minus y square. So tetragonally elongated, dx square minus y square residing 1 electron. Hence option number 1 satisfying this statement. In option number 1, all the queries whatever given in the problem will be fulfilled. That's why correct answer will be option 1 for question number 17. Now let us move on to question number 18. Due to the presence of one odd electron, the molecule becomes EPR active because unpaired electron containing species are required for this electron paramagnetic resonance spectroscopy. Electron paramagnetic resonance spectroscopy. So here one odd electron is there, that's why it becomes EPR active, right? So next question will be a liquid of density 1.1 gram per centimeter cube climbs to the height of 5 centimeter when capillary with internal radius 0.2 mm is dipped into it. The surface tension of liquid is closer to. Okay, here the problem which is based on surface tension, it is the physical parameter. We have to predict the surface tension based on given data. So surface tension formula will be gamma is equal to HR rho G by 2. Okay, surface tension gamma is equal to HR rho G by 2. H is nothing but so the liquid of density 1.1 is given here. So that is H is equal to 1.1. R radius, how much? R radius is given as 5.0 centimeters. 5.0 centimeters. And next is about rho. Density is equal to 0.2. So its density is given as 0.2, height is given as 1.1, and capillary radius is given as 5 centimeters. Okay, height is given as 1.1, radius is given as 5 centimeters, density rho is given as 0.2 mm. G is equal to acceleration due to gravity. So G value is given as 9.8 meter per second square. So now let us substitute all these values in the equation of surface tension. Gamma is equal to HR rho G by 2. Okay, so H height is given as 1.1. So 1.1 which is in the form of gram per centimeter cube, right? So now it is multiplied with 10 to the power of 3. So converted into milligrams, right? And next is about 5 centimeters value is given, converted into millimeters by multiplying with 10 to the power minus 2. And next is about 0.2, density is given, it is multiplied with 10 to the power minus 3. Next is about 9.8, that is the G value is given. So all the values should be converted into MK's terms. Okay, so by 2, so denominator will be 2, right? So in this problem, what we are doing, we are converting all the values into the single platform. 1.1 into 10 to the power of 3, 5 into 10 to the power of minus 2, 0.2 into 10 to the power of minus 3, 9.8 by 2 will be taken, right? So in this, in order to simplify the equation, 10 to the power 3, 10 to the power minus 3 get cancelled. 1.1, 9.8, almost it is considered as a 10 only. Value is considered as a 10 only, right? So let us consider these two values as 10. Now, what happens? 5 into 0.2, nothing but 1.0. This value becomes 1.0 only. So now entire term becomes 5 into 10 to the power minus 2 into 0.2 into 5, right? So now after calculating all this, it is given as 0.05 Newton per meter. 0.05 Newton per meter. Option number 1 is the right answer. What we are doing, we are taking the equation. So without equation, it is not possible to calculate. Gamma is equal to HR rho G by 2. H stands for height, R is the radius, rho is the density, G is the acceleration due to gravity by 2. All the terms should be converted into MKs. For that purpose, it is multiplied with multiplication factor and we will get the final answer, that is 0.05. Option number 1 is the right answer for question number 18. Now let us move on to question number 19. Identify from the following products K electron captured by nucleus. Okay, so K electron captured by the nucleus. We are taking the atomic orbital model. When atomic orbital model was taken, central part residing positive charge. So nucleus is composed with protons and neutrons. So neutrons being these are neutral in nature, so no positive and negative charge, and protons are acquiring positive charge. So central nucleus is positively charged entity. Now it is surrounded with the various shells in that. Based on electrons present, you can assume K shell, L, M, N, O. Different shells will be there. They are also denoted as 0, 1, 2, 3 like that. So 1, 2, 3, 4 are KLMN shells will be there. Okay. Whenever electron from this K shell consists of only 1s orbital. From this, what we are doing? We are shifting one of the electron into the nucleus. This is called a K electron capture. This is called K electron capture. So which is accepting K electrons? Nucleus. Within the nucleus, what is the species suitable to accept the electron? Protons only. When proton is accepting electron, what happens? There is a formation of neutron and neutrino. So formation of neutron and neutrino is possible. Here the options will be option number A and option number B. Neutron and neutrino will be formed. A and B both will be formed in this K electron capture. That's why option number 2 is the right answer. Okay. Now let us move on to question number 20. In question number 20, the correct order of rate of thermal decarboxylation of following. So what we are doing, we are going with thermal decarboxylation. So when decarboxylation is carried, what kind of charge will be generated? Carbon is acquiring negative. That means in all these three compounds, we are getting carbene ion intermediate. Based on the stability of carbene ion intermediate, the rate of reaction of decarboxylation will depend. More the stability of carbene ion, greater the rate of that corresponding reaction, decarboxylation, right? When we are taking benzoic acid, after decarboxylation, negative charge resides on this phenyl carbon. When we are taking pyridine having COH group at second position, carbene will be generated on this carbon atom. When we are taking this CH2COOH, CH2COOH, here carbene is generated that is allylic in nature, right? So among all the given options, option number C is forming highly stable resonance structure because there is a provision for resonance, there is a provision for acquiring stability. That's why option number C, rate of thermal decarboxylation will be highest. Now let us compare this benzoic acid and the pyridine having the COOH, where decarboxylation will be more. In both the cases, ring carbon is acquiring negative charge directly. That is not at all preferable for phenyl because that negative charge will not be delocalized. So if delocalization is not there, that carbon bearing negative will be highly unstable, right? That's the reason why both are not preferable. But we have to compare where the reactivity is slightly more. In case of COOH attached to the carbon, which directly linked to the nitrogen being it is electron negative, so the minus A affecting nature, what happens? This negative charge is strongly pulled towards nitrogen, somewhat carbon negative charge will be stabilized. In case of this benzoic acid, there is no such kind of case. So after C, B will be the higher decarboxylation. After B, least will be given for A. Okay, C followed by B followed by A is the right answer. Option number 1 will satisfy this. Now let us see how it will be generated. In all the cases, after decarboxylation, what are appeared? Carbene ions are generated. Here, allylic carbene type. Here, carbon having directly linked to the benzene ring. And here also carbene directly directly linked to this benzene. So in all these cases, here the stability will be more, where you can observe. In case of this decarboxylation, decarboxylation leads to formation of carbene ion is possible, which is benzyl carbene ion. That benzyl carbene ion having higher stability, right? Here it should be carbene ion generation at this position rather than, because decarboxylation, one of the carbon will be eliminated so that we will get complex having fewer number of carbon atoms. Here it will be benzylic carbon. So here it will be benzylic type of carbon will be generated, and here there's ring carbon having negative charge. Here also ring carbon having negative charge. Correct order will be high stability for this benzylic type, followed by nitrogen containing having some extent electron dragging tendency, and the next is phenyl carbene ion will be least stable, right? So CBA is the right sequence for this decarboxylation reaction. So option number 1 is satisfying the statement for question number 20. And the next problem, question number 21, true statement for following transformation. This is a kind of Diels-Alder reaction. Diene treated with dienophile adduct formation is possible. Diene, dienophile, under thermal conditions, there is a formation of adduct between these two. So this will be the adduct. What they are asking? True statement. Delta H and delta S values should be predicted from this. Okay. So diene, dienophile, when treated, adduct is generated. So what happens? Initially, we have two different atoms and the formation of one is possible. Means number of moles initially are 2, number of moles after product formation will be 1. Number of moles from left to right will be decreased. According to Le Chatelier principle, so if number of moles decreases, delta H becomes negative. This is in accordance with Le Chatelier principle. Delta H value will be negative for this. Okay. Now, here initially bond delocalization is very high. We can say these bonds are weak in nature. Whenever product is formed, what happens? Bond becomes very strong. Okay. So delta S stands for measure of randomness. Weak bonds, randomness will be more. Strong bonds, randomness will be less. That's the reason why delta S becomes negative whenever product is formed, right? So delta H, delta S both becomes negative. So option number 2 is satisfying this statement, right? In order to explain this, what we are doing, number of moles considered. If number of moles reduced, delta H becomes negative. So if weak bonds converted into strong bond, delta S becomes negative. So that's the reason why delta H, delta S both becomes negative upon treating with these two. So for question number 21, option number 2 is the right answer. Now, let us move on to question number 22. The most stable vanadium species in the aqueous medium. Okay, so all vanadium complexes were given. Let us see all are octahedral or not. First complex octahedral, second complex octahedral, third octahedral, fourth also octahedral. All complexes are octahedral in nature. What they are asking for? Most stable vanadium species. Which is more stable one we have to predict. When vanadium present in +4 oxidation state, it will become more stable. We have to drag, we have to predict its oxidation state in all the complexes. And moreover, vanadium is in oxyvanadiol state is also more stable. Okay, if any two complexes having same +4 configuration, then let us move on to another factor which deciding its stability will be oxyvanadiol. So when we are seeing oxyvanadiol, only option number 2 and 3 are having oxyvanadiol a kind of linkage. That's why either option 2 or option 3 will be the right answer. Now, let us predict a central metal oxidation state in all these complexes. When we are taking this one, what happens? water will be neutral. Charge will not be imparted for that one. And this vanadium complex, first vanadium complex, here it will be +2. Here OH is contributing -1 charge, entire vanadium charge will become +3, right? Okay, and in the second complex where we have 5 water molecules will not impart any charge to that one. Oxygen giving -2 and already +2 charges, their entire vanadium charge will become +4. In third complex, VO H2O taken 5 whole, positive will be given, where aqua will not impart any charge, oxygen having -2, and here 1 charge is added, so that vanadium will be +3, right? In next complex, what is H2O taken for, OH taken twice. Oxygen will not be there. H2O taken 4, OH taken twice will be there. Here -2 and here another 2 charge. Total vanadium charge will become +4. So already we know vanadium, when it is in +4 oxidation state, it will be more stable. Here and here we have +4 oxidation state. Now, in order to avoid the ambiguity, we have to go for second factor, that is when vanadium is in contact with oxygen, it will be more stable. That's why option number 2 is satisfying this statement. Vanadium oxygen H2O taken for whole, +2, dipositive cation. So this option number 2 is giving right answer for this question number 22. So oxyvanadium will be stable in +4 oxidation state for question number 22. Now, let us move on to next question 23rd. The major product formed in the following reaction: benzene, paramethoxy group is there, CH2, NHCBZ. So CBZ structure is also given here. Here PHCH2O, C double bond group will be there. It is a highly bulky group. This is used to protect the NH2 functional group, and COO tertiary butyl. Okay, here it is very important to observe that we have 3 functional groups in this compound. One is OH, second is carboxylic acid, third is NH2 group. And these 3 functional groups are protected with their suitable protecting agents. Here we converted this OH into methoxy. Here it is converted into NHCBZ, and here it is converted into ester, right? So now it is added with CF3COOH. Trifluoroacetic acid will be added. This trifluoroacetic acid is selective for deprotection of carboxylic acid, but not remaining all. It will not affect amine and hydroxy. Instead, it only deprotects this carboxylic acid. So let us see the options here. NH2 deprotected. This is not the right option. Here NHCBZ remains as such. OH is deprotected. This is also not the right answer. NH2COH, both are deprotected. It is also not right answer. OME, NHCBZ remains as such, but the COOH will be deprotected. This is the suitable answer because CF3COOH is selective for deprotection of this carboxylic acid. Option number 4 is satisfying the statement. For question number 25, option number 4 is the right answer. In order to deprotect this CBZ from amine, so palladium hydrogen is the suitable reagent. Okay, so CBZ will be deprotected by the addition of palladium hydrogen. In order to deprotect this hydroxy functional group, so acid catalyzed hydrolysis is carried. Under acidic conditions, it's subjected to hydrolysis so that it will be converted into OH, it is converted into methanol. But only the option given is CF3COH. That's why correct answer will be tertiary butoxy group will be removed and carboxylic acid selectively deprotected. Option number 4 is the right answer. The next question will be the frequency of OH stretching occurs at 3600 centimeter inverse. OD stretching frequency would be closest to OH at 3600 and deuterated OH frequency will be closest to. In order to predict this, we have to apply the formula of reduced mass. Reduced mass formula is given as V is equal to So nu is equal to stretching frequency nu is equal to half into pi under root k by mu. Okay, so here all the remaining terms are constants only. When we remove all the constant, v is directly proportional to 1 by mu. That is nothing but frequency is inversely proportional to root of reduced mass. Okay, so for ethanol molecule, we have to take under root mu h. For deuterated ethanol, we have to take under root mu d. Right? So mu d by mu h value is given as under root 1 by 2. Okay, so mu d reduced mass of deuterium by reduced mass of hydrogen, this relation is given as under root 1 by 2. Now delta mu is equal to mu h by under root 2. Delta mu is because denominator goes that side, and mu d is equal to mu h by under root 2. Okay, so now mu h, reduced mass of hydrogen is provided here 3600 by under root 2 value is 1.44. Now the value is equal to 2600. Option number 2 is the right answer for this question number 26. Right? Actually it is 26. So OH is giving it 36, OD will give it at 2600. So this is the equation which used to calculate this frequency of IR band. Okay, so V is inversely proportional to reduced mass. Okay, now let us move on to next question. For the complex shown below, non-fluxional state, the expected P31H1 NMR resonance is given as P31I angular momentum number is given as half. Okay, so when we take this complex, we have to predict its P31 NMR peaks. In order to calculate P31 NMR peaks, the formula will be 2Ni plus 1. And in this molecule, we have to predict either both PPH3 molecules are exactly equivalent or different. Okay, here this PPH3 is surrounded with PPH2 is surrounded with C double bond O pH, and this PPH2 is surrounded with carbonyl. Both are not having equal environment. That's why we can say both are non-identical, both are different in nature, right? Let us apply 2Ni plus 1 formula for this first type. Okay, so first type of phosphorus we are applying. So when we apply 2Ni plus 1 formula for this PPH2, so it is the chelating ligand PPH2 CH2 CH2 PPH2 which attached to iridium, right? So when we are considering this PPH2 applying 2Ni plus 1, here N stands for number of atoms. In this number of central atom, phosphorus only 1 is there. That's why 2 into 1, and its I value is given as half. I value within the problem only I value is given 2 into 1 into half plus 1 is equal to. So 2 get cancelled, 1 plus 1 it will become 2. 2 is nothing but a doublet. Now B type of phosphorus we are considering, which is in this axial position. So for this B type of proton, again we are applying 2Ni plus formula where 1 phosphorus is there and its I value is given as half. So again it will become 2, that is nothing but doublet. For 1 phosphorus doublet, second phosphorus also doublet will be there. How many doublets appeared? 2 doublets. Option number 4 is the right answer. So option 4 is the right answer for this question. Now let us move on to question number 26. If the rate constant for base catalyzed ester reaction is given as 0.20 liter mole inverse second inverse, half-life of the ester is equal to base is equal to 0.05 mole liter inverse would be closest to 2. So half-life should be predicted. Here ester and base both are given. Now rate is given as liter mole inverse second inverse. By using these units only we can clearly assume that it is the second order reaction. In case of second order reaction, K is proportional to concentration of ester and the concentration of base as well, right? Ester and base concentration both will influence this rate of the reaction, right? For second order reaction, it is very clear that half-life period T half is given as 1 by A into K. Okay, so A value is given here. Activity coefficient value is given is 0.05. A value is given as 0.05 and rate constant. Rate constant base catalyzed hydrolysis is given as 0.20, right? 1 by 0.05 into 0.20, right? So it will become 100 second inverse. It will become 100 second inverse. So option number 2 is the right answer. Okay, very simple. So by seeing these units only, we can assume it is the second order reaction. For second order reaction, half-life period T half is equal to 1 by A into K. A is the activity coefficient whose value is given. Rate of the reaction is also given. When we substitute these two values, then value becomes 100. For question number 26, option number 2 is the right answer. And the next one, this is the organic chemistry, medicinal chemistry especially. Correct match for the drug molecules in the column A with their medicinal use in the column B. Okay, so column A, 3 compounds are given and their subsequent pharmacological activity or therapeutic activity mentioned in column B. We have to correlate, we have to match these two. First compound will be procoin. So this procoin is given as anesthetic agent. Procoin is the anesthetic agent which used to give the loss of temporary consciousness for some time. So it is an anesthetic agent. Okay, so nervous system will be functioning will be stopped for some extent. So that's why procoin is used as the anesthetic agent. And next is about warfarin. Warfarin is the kind of coumarin derivative and it is the better used as anticoagulant which used to avoid blood coagulation. Blood clotting will be avoided. It is a kind of vasodilator, vitamin K antagonist. Okay, so blood clotting will be prevented by this one. Warfarin is the kind of anticoagulant. It is the vasodilating agent, right? So coumarin derivative it is, right? And the next is about cephalexin. Cephalexin, all these cephalexin, penicillin, all these are considered as a antibiotic agents. So cephalexin is the prominent compound, prominent medicine in order to use as a antibiotic agent. Antibiotic stands for the drug which extracted from the microorganisms and also used to cure or used to kill any other microorganisms is called an antibiotic, right? So procoin being it is the anesthetic agent, it used to give the temporary unconsciousness. Warfarin being it is an anticoagulant used as a vasodilating agent. Cephalexin being it is the antibiotic agent. So broad spectrum microorganisms, especially bacterial species, can be destroyed by using this drug. So P matched with 1, Q matched with 2, R mapped with 3. So option number 1 is the right statement for this question number 27. The next question will be molar composition of mixture of P and Q are at the equilibrium 3:1. P is to Q is given as 3:1 ratio. The small disturbance in the composition results in change in chemical potential P by 10 joules per mole. The chemical potential of Q will be changes by. Okay, so what we are doing, PQ were taken in the 3:1 ratio. We are giving small disturbance in that. So if small disturbance is changes P potential by 10 joules per mole, then what is the chemical potential of Q we have to predict. This is mainly given by the equation which is suggested by the scientist Gibbs-Duhamel, right? So Gibbs-Duhamel equation states that dg is equal to sigma d ni mi, right? So dg is equal to sigma d ni mi. So always for the equilibrium type of reactions, delta G is given as 0. So in this, the reaction is maintained at the equilibrium. Hence, we can say Dg is equal to 0. Now, sigma Nid Mi is equal to Np d mu p plus Nq d mu q. Because here two different components are given, that's why we have to apply this factorial value. Np d mu p plus Nq d mu q value should be given. So Np is given as 3, and for this chemical potential will be 10. Intensity ratio will be 3 and the chemical potential is 10. Okay, plus Nq is given as 1. So it's a proportionate will be 1. Q is in 1 proportional, right? So, and its mu q is not known, that we have to predict. 3 into 10 is to 1 into d mu q is equal to 0. Okay, now what happens? D mu q is equal to, when we take this right hand side, what happened? 3 into 10, nothing but 30. By taking this 30 right hand side, it will become minus 30 joules per mole. Okay, minus 30 joules per mole. The correct option will be option number 3. So option number 3 is the right answer for this question. Now let us move on to next question. The magnitude of bond angle in the gaseous NF3, SBF3, SbCl3 are given as. So, 3 compounds were given. These 3 compounds are the member of nitrogen family: nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth. Okay. So, what happens? There is a direct relation between bond angle as well as its electronegativity. Here, 2 statements are used to explain this problem in a single minute. What are the 2 statements? If central atom electronegativity increases, bond angle also increases. If surrounding atom electronegativity increases, bond angle decreases. Okay, so electronegativity of nitrogen is higher when compared to this strontium. Okay, so strontium, both are strontium only, that's why only we have to compare nitrogen and strontium electronegativity. As we are descending down in any group, electronegativity gradually decreases. So nitrogen, being it is more electronegative, that's why its bond angle will be higher, right? So this is clear. And second, in strontium, both are strontium only, we have to predict whose bond angle will be more. In order to get that, we have to go with surrounding atoms. Here fluorine, here chlorine molecules are there. Among fluorine, fluorine will be highest electronegative element compared to chlorine. Being it is highest electronegative, surrounding atom electronegativity increases, bond angle decreases. That's why after nitrogen, and the next species will be strontium trichloride. So this will come in the second place, and the least bond angle is afforded for strontium trifluoride. The correct sequence will be NF3, SbCl3 followed by SbF3. NF3, SbCl3, SbF3. Option number 4 is satisfying all these statements. Now let us see how it will be shown. Bond angle is directly proportional to electronegativity of central atom. Bond angle is inversely proportional to surrounding atom electronegativity. NF3 molecule, bond angle is predicted as 1 or 2. So NF3 bond angle, being it is a pyramidal shape molecule whose actually tetrahedral geometry will be there, but one of the corner is resided with lone pair of electrons. That's why you can say it is a pyramidal shape, whose bond angle will be 1 or 2. Deviation from the tetrahedral bond angle will be there. Strontium F3, again tetrahedral, 1 lone pair, hence you can say pyramidal shape will be there. 87.3. Strontium trichloride, it will be 92 degrees, right? So it will be 92 degrees. That's why the correct sequence will be NF3 will be highest, followed by strontium trichloride, followed by strontium trifluoride. So it is satisfied in the option number 4. For question number 29, option number 4 is the right answer, right? Let us move on to question number 30. In question number 30, we have Di-substituted benzene, where para-nitrobenzoic acid compound was taken and treated with hydrogen at 3 atmospheric pressure in the presence of rainy nickel catalyst, affording room temperature conditions. Okay, so this is a kind of reduction. Rainy nickel is a strong reducing agent, and it is possible to reduce 3 substances which are present in the given compound, but that depends upon the temperature. It is purely temperature dependent reduction reaction. At room temperature conditions, RT conditions, NO2 will be more active and it is specifically subjected to reduction. In order to reduce phenyl, somewhat higher temperature is required. And at elevated temperature, carboxylic acid will be reduced. Order of reduction is given as NO2 is more reductive, more prone for the reduction, followed by benzene ring, followed by carboxylic acid. Here, the conditions afforded by this reaction are room temperature. At room temperature, only selective reduction of NO2 rather than phenyl and carboxylic acid. Hence, we can write NO2 get converted into NH2. Nitro group further transformed into amino functional group by this reduction. Okay, catalytic reduction. Right? So instead of this phenyl and also this carboxylic acid. So option number one. Option number 1 is given with NH2 reduced as well as benzene ring also reduced. In option number 2, NO2 is not reduced, benzene ring not reduced, only COH reduced. In option number 3, NO2 reduced, benzene ring not reduced, COH. NO2, COH both reduced, not correct. Here option number 4, NO2 reduced into NH2, benzene ring not reduced, and even COH not reduced. Option number 4 is satisfying this statement. So for this question number 30, option number 4 is the right answer. Next, a cube does not have the symmetry element. So when we are taking the cube, this is the cube. So in this cube, we have to predict the symmetry elements present. Okay, so in order to predict C2 symmetry 180 degrees, C3 symmetry 120 degrees, C4 symmetry 90 degrees angle will be there. Okay, so when we see this cube, C2 will be observed here. So means by taking cube in this direction, by rotating 180 degrees, identical will be appeared. So we can see C2 axis will be residing in this direction, and C3 axis, by taking these two diagonal positions, it is possible to rotate the molecule by 120 degrees. So C3 axis will be there. And here C4 axis, by rotating 90 degrees in this vertical manner, it is possible to get the identical. So this cube is consisting C2, C3 and C4 kind of axis, but there is no C6 axis of symmetry in this cube. So does not have the symmetry element, that is C6. Option number 4 is the right statement for this question. Option number 4 will be the right statement. Next, let us move on to question number 32. The pair of height source and atomizer, the pair of light source and atomizer resulting highest sensitivity to atomic absorption spectrometric measurement is. Okay, so in atomic absorption spectroscopy, we have to use halo cathode lamp. So this halo cathode lamp will be HCl is considered as a radiation source. So this halo cathode lamp completely filled with inert gases like argon, neon, such kind of inert gases are filled into this and subjected to atomic absorption spectroscopy, right? So that used to release the radiation. So halo cathode lamp called HCl is the radiation source, so which is filled with inert gas. So atomizer is the device. The purpose of atomizer is which used to convert whatever substance we are going to analyze, that is converted into gaseous atoms. In order to vaporize those sample into gaseous state, atomizer is required. So that used to convert into the atoms. Even we are taking molecules, ions, whatever the things are the starting materials, atomizer will convert them into gaseous atoms. Okay, So most probably graphite furnace is used as atomizer. This graphite furnace is also known as electrothermal instrument. Okay, so radiation source will be halo cathode lamp and atomizer used will be graphite furnace. Option number 3 is satisfying this statement. So for this question number 32, option number 3 is the right answer. And the next question, the common glass electrode alkaline error caused pH is greater than 10 is least for. So pH is greater than 10 is nothing but it is highly basic condition we are taking. At this highly basic condition, so we are taking glass electrode and alkaline error. So least alkaline error we have to predict among all the given options. Okay, so here first, we have to know what is the purpose of glass electrode. The use of glass electrode is to predict pH of the solution, right? In order to predict the pH of solution, we are using these glass electrodes, right? So whenever glass electrode is used, it is selective for H plus ions most probably. Being it is the ion selective electrode, it used to give the electrode potential of H plus even though we are taking mixture of ions. Here the question is alkaline error, right? So whenever concentration is more, number of ions will be more interaction will be possible, right? So when we are taking ions, sodium, lithium, potassium, all these ions belongs to same group. Okay, group 1 elements only. All these are group 1 elements only. Lithium, sodium followed by potassium. Lithium being it is a smaller one, and here smaller ions will be there. And the next size from lithium to sodium rises. From sodium to potassium size will be still raised, right? So now let us see, sodium and lithium are smaller when compared to potassium. So it is about the distribution. Whenever we are taking a container, in that container we are taking acid H plus ion containing solution, along with H plus sodium ions, lithium ions, and potassium ions also we are taking. Among all these known ions, potassium are larger in nature compared to lithium and sodium. If larger the size of ion, interference with that diffusion of H plus ions will be lesser. They will not compete with H plus. They will not interact with these H plus ions in order to give the pH of solution. They will not disturb. That's why alkaline error generated by K plus ions will be lesser when compared to lithium and sodium ions. That's the reason why alkaline error will be less for potassium chloride solution. The correct option will be option number 4. Option 4 is the right answer for this question, right? So next, let us move on to question number 34. Pair of lanthanide ions which show significant deviation from experimental and calculated magnetic moment, considering contribution of ground state only, mu effective is equal to G into J plus 1 whole 1 by 2 is, right? So pair of lanthanide ions are given, gadolinium, lutetium, half filled and completely filled, samarium and terbium, uranium, terbium, samarium and uranium were given. Mu effective formula is also given. Mu effective is equal to G under root J into J plus 1. So here Landis formula, in order to predict G value, Landis formula G is equal to 1 plus S into S plus 1 J plus J into J plus 1 minus L into L plus 1 by 2 J into J plus 1. Okay. So here, when we apply this formula, what happens? Samarium and uranium are showing maximum deviation. So maximum deviation in the sense, so when compared to theoretical, experimental values of samarium and uranium are very large. So let us see, samarium expected value is 0.5, but after the calculation it will be 1.9. For uranium expected value is 0, but observed value will be 0.9. So greater extent of deviation observed for these two, samarium and uranium. Let us see what's the reason. Landis formula fits well for observed moment of samarium plus 3 and uranium plus 3. Samarium and uranium are altered Landis expression by temperature dependent population. So because of temperature, as temperature changes, so this lambda factor values also changes for samarium and uranium. That's a reason why. Option number 4 is the right answer for this question number 34. They are exhibiting greater extent of deviation because of they are temperature dependent in nature. J values will be altered. J values will be altered by changing temperature. If J values changes, what happens? Their mu effective value also changes, right? So magnetic moment value also changes. So that's why option number 4 is the right answer for question number 34. And the next question is, major product formed in this following reaction. We are taking benzene with NO2 iodo, OTS group is present on this ethyl. So it is treated with sodium actually, if we are taking PHONA, that becomes sodium phenoxide. Now it is considered as sodium thiophenoxide. It is considered as sodium thiophenoxide. So it is a kind of substitution reaction and dissolved in DMF. DMF is a solvent. So when we are seeing all these, NO2 is a leaving group, iodo is also leaving group, O-tosyl is also leaving group. Now, 3 leaving groups are present in the starting material. When it is added with any other nucleophilic agent, we have to go with better leaving group among all 3. Okay, so among all 3, better leaving group will be OTS because bulkiness will be very large. If bulkiness is very large, it is better to leave this one so that it will be eliminated very fastly. That's why selectively sodium thiophenoxide will be attached to this ethyl carbon atom rather than iodo and nitro, because these two are not much reactive leaving groups. Okay, and it is the kind of second order reaction, second order nucleophilic substitution. Everybody know, in second order nucleophilic substitution, Walden inversion will be observed. Walden inversion in the sense, so if this leaving group is towards us, this incoming nucleophile is attached from the back end, so that SPH group will be attached from the back end and it will be represented as a dotted line. So option number 2 is satisfying this statement. SPH will be attached from the back side, and this will be the probable product for this reaction. So here is the mechanism. Backside SN2 reaction will be possible. SPH minus will be attached from the backside so that it is converted into dotted line SPH. So O-tosyl is the better leaving group. That's the reason why here is the substitution preferably possible instead of iodo and nitro. Okay. So for question number 35, correct option will be option number 2. Option number 2 being it is the SN2 inverted product will be generated. And the next question number 36, it is the photochemistry question where we are having cyclohexenone. Cyclohexenone starting material treated with HNO conditions, photolytic conditions were applied. So whenever photolytic conditions applied, it used to generate homolytic fission of the bond, carbon free radical will be generated and subsequent cyclization leads to form bicyclic ring structure. Bicyclic ring will be formed, and bicyclic ring is not observed in option number 2 and 3. So option number 2, 3 will not suitable for this. And here also we got a norbornene type of derivative. It is also not the correct answer. So only option number 4 is the right answer for this question number 36. Let us see how the mechanism follows. When we are taking this cyclohexenone type of derivative under HNO conditions, here carbon free radical is generated under deprotonation, protonation is possible. This oxygen get converted into OH. Here under HNO conditions, here we will get a carbon free radical. Here also double bond will be photolytically cleaved, and it is converted into oxygen radical, carbon radical. This carbon radical are able to cyclize. Cyclization of these two are possible, and further protonation leads to oxygen radical converted into OH, and here bicyclic ring will be generated. The suitable answer will be option number 4. It is a kind of photochemical reaction. Under H nu conditions, homolytic cleavage will be possible. Here carbon free radical, here oxygen free radical, here carbon free radical will be generated. This carbon free radical will be cyclized in this manner, and H radical will be protonated at this oxygen and converted into OH. Four-membered ring formation is possible here. Option number 4 is satisfying this statement. For question number 36, option number 4 is the right answer. And the next question will be even CB, even conjugate base mechanism followed in the reaction of, which reaction is followed with even CB mechanism. In order to perform even CB mechanism, elimination unimolecular conjugate base mechanism, it is particularly involved in aldol condensation and also arine kind of mechanisms. Whenever these reactions are performed, there is a possibility of even conjugate base mechanism, right? So here, when we are taking nitromethane benzaldehyde in the presence of potassium hydroxide, this reaction is a kind of aldol condensation. In remaining, the main difference between even and even CB mechanism will be, in even mechanism, first carbon leaving group bond will be cleaved and the carbocation will be generated. But in case of even CB mechanism, what happens? Carbon hydrogen bond will be cleaved and the carbene ion generation is possible, right? So that is reverse to even mechanism. So it is clearly observed in option number 2. This is a kind of aldol condensation. That's the reason why even CB clearly observed in option number 2. Now let us see how it is possible. When we are taking nitromethane upon treatment with base, there is a formation of carbene ion. Carbon hydrogen bond cleavage is observed and carbene ion generation is possible. This carbene ion now attached to the aldehyde functional group and is converted into this CH2NO2. So subsequent to dehydration from alpha beta carbon atoms, so there is a formation of carbon-carbon double bond. This is called a styrene moiety. Okay, benzene, vinyl benzene is called styrene. Here styrene will be generated. So this is the kind of even CB mechanism. First carbon hydrogen bond will be cleaved. So nitromethane with benzaldehyde in the presence of KOH, in the presence of KOH to give beta nitrostyrene is the right answer. Option number 2 is satisfying this statement. The next question will be question number 38. Consider the two-level system in which excited state separated from ground state by energy E in doubly degenerated state. The fraction of molecules excited state as T tends to infinity. Okay. So this is the main deciding factor in order to calculate the entire formula. T tends to infinity is the required actual requirement in this problem. Okay, consider two-level system with excited state separated from ground state by energy E doubly degenerated in nature, right? So the formula will be Ne by N is equal to 2 to the power E 2E minus E by KT by 1 into E to the 1 into E naught plus 2 E to the power minus E by KT. This is the empirical formula in order to calculate this fraction of molecules in the excited state. So by using this formula, it is possible to calculate. So within the problem, they mentioned that T tends to infinity. So when we are taking reciprocal of this 1 by T, it becomes, that means 1 by infinity value becomes 0. 1 by infinity value becomes 0. Exponential to the power minus 1 by T becomes 1. E to the power minus 1 by T is equal to 1. Ne by N is equal to 2 into E to the power minus E by KT by 1 into E to the power E naught plus 2 E to the power minus E by KT. So this is the empirical formula. Let us substitute E to the power minus KT is equal to 1. Right? So in this, when we substitute, this entire term becomes 1. 2 into 1 by 1 plus, so 1 plus 2 into 1 again. So now what happens? 2 into 1, it will be 2. 1 plus 2, it becomes 3. So it will be 2 by 3. This purely based on this T tends to infinity. If T tends to infinity, 1 by T is equal to 0. So if 1 by T is equal to 0, E to the power minus 1 by T becomes 1. When we substitute E to the power minus E by KT value as 1, So equation will be highly simplified, that is 2 into 1 by 1 plus 2 into 1 is equal to 2 by 3. Option number 3 is the right answer for this question number 38. Now let us move on to question number 39, where we are taking 4 different negatively charged species. In 2 species carbon acquiring negative, in remaining 2 species oxygen acquiring negative. Correct order of basicity. We have to predict correct order of basicity. So first we have to compare basic nature of carbon, basic nature of oxygen. Among carbon and oxygen, oxygen is more electronegative when compared to carbon. Obviously, carbon will become more basic compared to oxygen because carbon having more tendency to lose the electrons because of less electronegativity. That's why obviously AB having more basic nature compared to CD. So now let us go with AB. In case of AB, what happens? Here NO2 group is having more electron withdrawing nature compared to CN. That's the reason why CN becomes more basic. So B will be more basic, followed by A. And among these two, oxygen delocalized in this molecule. Here also oxygen delocalized here. Oxygen lone pair. In case of this carboxylic, oxygen negative charge delocalization carried in this C double bond O group. Here, delocalization of negative charge is possible within the molecule with 3NO2. That's why option number D having more basic nature compared to C, because here delocalization will be no more and basic nature will decreased. That's the reason why. So we can clearly say B will have more basic nature, followed by A, followed by D, followed by C. Okay, so carbon is more basic compared to oxygen. That's why. So AB will be more basic than CD. And among ABs, B have more basic nature compared to A. And among CD, D have more basic compared to C. So B, A, D, C is the right order for this basic nature of all these organic compounds. Now, last question for today's session. By this entire part B will be completed. The titration of 4.4 grams of polymer having carboxylic acid group requires 11 ml of 0.02 molar sodium hydroxide. Average molar mass of polymer will be. Okay, so molar mass, molecular weight of the polymer should be calculated. This is the problem based on polymer chemistry. And in this, carboxylic acid is the polymeric chain, and it is titrated against sodium hydroxide, right? So obviously, carboxylic acid is monovalent and sodium hydroxide also monovalent. 1 mole requires 1 mole of NaOH. There is a formation of sodium carboxylate salt and water formation is possible. It is a kind of neutralization reaction. Molarity is given by weight by gram molecular weight into 1000 by V. So in order to calculate number of moles of sodium hydroxide, molarity into volume should be taken. Molarity is 0.02. This is given in the problem only. So this is the molarity, and the volume is given as 11 ml. So 11 into 10 to the power of minus 3 will be taken, and it is converted into 2.2 into 10 to the power of minus 4. So this is about number of moles of sodium hydroxide. Then 4.4 grams of polymer was taken, right? So number of moles of polymer will be 4.4 grams. That means 2.2 into 10 to the power of minus 4 moles of sodium hydroxide consumes 4.4 grams of polymer. 2.2 into 10 to the power of minus 4 moles of sodium hydroxide consumes 4.4 grams of polymer. Then 1 mole of sodium hydroxide, how many grams of polymer is required? For 2.2 into 10 to the power of minus 4, 4.4 are required. For 1 mole, how many grams of polymer is required? Now, cross multiplication is carried. 1 into 4.4 divided by 2.2 into 10 to the power minus 4. Nothing but 4.4 by 2.2 into 10 to the power minus 4. So it will become 2.2 into 10 to the power 4, because denominator when comes up, what happens? Negative becomes positive. Now it is simply represented as 22,000 grams. In kgs, it can be divided by 1000. So 20 kg approximately. So correct option will be option number 2. 40 for question number 40, option number 2 is the right answer. So by this, entire part B of CSIR NET December 2019 chemical science question paper was discussed in this. So detailed answers will be given for this. So thank you very much for your patience, and hope it will be helpful for your preparation. Thanks a lot.